What sparked that interest in like learning Buddhism and like taking this leap to come, across the ocean for you?
Dealing with those issues inspired me to come here to potentially learn more about Buddhism, how it views life and how it tackles the idea of suffering in order to potentially make myself a better person and also bring those teachings back to my communities.
10 eggs?
Yeah. I told you, no, I eat a lot.
How's your cholesterol? There's like so much hype around like meditation. Tell me about that experience as like a beginner.
Every morning we meditate for an hour.
When I first did it, I was like, this is so boring and I'm like not doing it very well, but it's been getting better.
It's made me a lot more reflective and calmer. I think it's making me a better person.
There's a lot of, things happening back in the US, with all the protests and stuff like that. How do we, like from the knowledge that you guys have gained here, how do we, combat that? How do we spread more, compassion or like the sense of interdependence?
Welcome to Bodja Podcast.
Thanks everyone for joining the Bodja Podcast. Bodja means Tibetan tea. Have you guys had any Tibetan tea while you were here?
Yeah.
Do you guys like it?
It's okay.
It's okay. You like it?
I like the butter tea.
Okay. Let's go around if we could introduce ourselves real quick, or maybe like your name, what year you guys are, and then like what you guys are studying, or anything interesting that you want to share. You want to start?
Hi, my name is Norzan Hamu, and I was actually born and raised in Dharamsala, India. So I came to Atlanta in 2017, and so I'm going to be attending Emory University this upcoming fall.
Yay!
I was planning on majoring in political science and economics, but we'll see how that goes.
No. Still early.
Hi, my name is Rick Martinez. I'm a current sophomore at Emory University. I'm originally from California, so big trip. And I'm planning on hopefully majoring in neuroscience and behavioral biology, and I'm currently on the pre-med track. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Right. And Mei.
Hello, my name is Mei. I'm from Seattle. I'm about to be a senior in college, so time to figure out what I'm doing. But no, I do not know what I'm doing. But I guess I've majored in neuroscience, psychology, sort of, and philosophy.
So I'm Ian. I'm a rising senior at Emory University. I study NBB, which is neuroscience and behavioral biology, also on the pre-med track like Frank. I'm pretty much outside of that, I just like training and reading. It's pretty much all I do.
Training what?
Just exercise in general.
Okay.
Weightlifting mostly, calisthenics, any training.
Nice.
My name is Sage. I'm from New York City. I'm a rising sophomore at Emory. I'm 19. I'm also kind of undecided, but I was originally going to go business and then I withdrew, and now I'm thinking I might do a nursing and religion major. And in terms of hobbies, I really like to paint.
Nice. I guess can somebody give me like a high-level overview of like the program and then like what you guys have done so far?
I can try.
Yeah.
I'll try for you. So essentially, the program is a way for Emory students to so the Tibetan community is very connected with Emory, like beyond just students-wise. Geshe Lobsang's done a lot of that work, connecting science and the Tibetan Buddhism. And so this program is just kind of a way for Emory students to also get involved in that aspect and kind of bring their own understanding of science and what they're studying. Because a lot of us aren't necessarily STEM majors on the trip. We have a number of like creative writing people, mainly philosophy people, language people. So it's not just STEM that are interested in the program, but we're able to come here, interact with the Tibetan community, learn more about the culture, kind of gain a better understanding of how science is being integrated with Tibetan Buddhism, kind of learned your guys' perspective on it. And then what we do is essentially we just become immersed in the culture, like we're staying in the monastery here in Dharamsala. We were staying at Sarah College. We visited a lot of like the culturally significant areas.
Yeah.
We talked to a lot of people there about, what it is they do and how they're sort of interacting with science from their perspective. So it was just a lot of like mostly experiential learning. And then we kind of got like an introductory education on Buddhism while we were here, and then just shared our knowledge with the monks and nuns.
Yeah. And then I guess like I saw the brochure. I mean, it looked pretty nice, right? But my school also had like a study abroad program where you could choose different areas in the world, like East Asia, and like India was one of them. Nobody wanted to go to India, but you guys all wanted to come here. Well, why was that?
So I think the person who best summarized this a lot is one of our teachers here. His name is Dr. Andy Kazama. And so what he originally told me when I was interested in applying in this program was that the cohort usually ended up being a group of very self-selected students. Usually it was those who were truly motivated in one way or another, be it like in studying Buddhism or learning how the philosophy could be applied to lifestyle, career, or even just learning about the history and the culture. Like everybody had like their own like self-selected purpose and were deeply motivated to pursue that. And that's what truly helped a lot of people apply and get into this program. Me personally, it was just learning more about Buddhism and the culture. And from what I've seen here, everybody here has developed that deep sense of passion from learning about Buddhism and how it applies to a variety, basically like a spectrum of different fields across their lives. Because again, not everybody here is a STEM major. So it's interesting to see that intersection between how Buddhism could be applied to potentially both like STEM fields, like me and Ian are pre-med, but also more humanities and philosophical based like areas too. Like for example, we have a creative writing major here and she's amazing.
Yeah. What sparked that interest in like learning Buddhism and like taking this leap to come, across the ocean for you?
I could speak for me, but it's mostly just I was initially interested in the program because Dr. Andy Kazama was the one who originally told me about this like about a year ago. He would tell me about, this program was incredible, even if it wasn't like so much as like, it wouldn't have the accommodation of like going to like Europe. It was incredible in another sense that he learned a lot from like the philosophy of living, like how it improved like a lot of aspects with how we viewed life, how it improved his mental health and physical health too to an extent. And throughout the year between when we talked to right now, I had a lot of interesting circumstances in my life pop up that were revolved around a bunch of mental health issues. And so learning about this program and already being interested on top of dealing with those issues inspired me to come here to potentially learn more about Buddhism, how it views life and how it tackles the idea of suffering in order to potentially make myself a better person and also bring those teachings back to my communities back home to see if I could potentially introduce these topics and help them see how the Buddhist monks here see life.
Yeah. And anybody else have any different thoughts? Well, what are the big takeaways for you guys from this trip so far? It's coming to an end soon, right? When do you guys end?
Yeah, we end in about 3-ish days, which is kind of hard to believe, and I don't think it's really set in for any of us at this moment, at least for me. Takeaways. What a tough question. I mean, I think that there's an unlimited amount of takeaways. I remember in our first 2 weeks, I bought a little journal in some market in Dharamsala, and it was halfway full in 2 weeks of all these things that I wanted to remember and remind myself of when I came back home or tell my parents, family, friends, whatever. So the takeaways are truly endless. And even Geshe Lobsang, he's been a crucial part of our experience. He's taught us, as Ian was saying, both the scientific and Buddhist perspective on all these different philosophies that we're studying. And I oftentimes in meditation would have an issue. So every morning we meditate for an hour from 7 to 8. And he kind of walks us through certain modalities. Like for example, we'll talk about compassion and love meditation and he'll remind us basically to think, or he'll ask us to think of someone who we love or someone who's suffering and how we can take on that burden for them, understand it, and maybe in some way or another allow it to dissipate and allow that to let go for ourselves or for other people. And in doing this, he always brings up these beautiful analogies, always revolved around nature, I've found. I can't quite remember right now what they are, but I remember in meditation, he's always talking about these beautiful things, and I'm thinking to myself, I wish I had my journal right in front of me so I could be doing it, and that was really distracting at first. But I don't know if anyone wants to talk about their meditation experience, but I think that could be a cool thing to talk about.
Yeah, how's that been?
I think for me, meditation has actually been a really good experience. So it's something that, of course, my dad has always wanted to teach me because he works for C-Learning. And so, of course, he wants to implement what his program is teaching to his own children, right? And so he tries, and we don't get to do it every day, so there's not that consistency there. And they've really taught us here that consistency is the most important thing to meditation. Even if it isn't your best practice or your best session, at least you're trying to do it, right? And so waking up every morning at 7 to do the meditation, it's been a little challenging because we do have some late nights, but it's made me a lot more reflective and calmer. I think one really important thing that I started to do as a result of meditation and this trip overall is I started seeing these amazing characteristics that I really admired in everybody else that I wanted to take from them and try to implement in myself. Like I already said this to Mei, but I really appreciate the way that she speaks, the way she talks and carries herself, things like that. And so I've just been admiring a lot of different traits in people, and it's made me, I think it's making me a better person.
How does she talk and carry herself?
He's like, I'm not getting it.
I don't know.
No, she's just like, when you ask her a question, she's very composed. She doesn't look startled at all with anything that you ask. She talks very calmly and slowly, not in like a boring, slow kind of way, but like slow to a point where everything makes sense to you and not too fast either. Like her tone, the way she expresses herself, it just seems very calm, collected, and it's easy to understand.
Thank you. That's really, really wonderful. Coming from you especially, I mean, talk about impressive, like truly in every way.
There's like so much hype around like meditation, and like I feel like there is definitely like a barrier for most people who are starting, especially like what is it? Because like it's not like an exercise program where you can just like use the machines if you don't know how to like bench press or something like that, or how to squat if you don't have proper form. There's like machines you can use and there might not be that for like meditation. Of course, there's like Headspace and like there's like Calm, there's meditation apps, but can you guys like tell me about that experience as like a beginner? Like of course you have Dr. Lobsang to help you guide it, but like what's that experience been? Is it as difficult as people say? Is it easier? What has been your experience with that?
So I guess like also like I feel like one-off a lot of times, like we've probably like been in a place where we're supposed to meditate, and I think at least something for me that I struggled with was like not really knowing what to do. As you kind of say, there's not really anyone who can observe and say, oh, you're doing this wrong, really. And so like for me, I guess I always assumed it was about no thoughts, and like being here and getting to read and getting to learn firsthand about like more about like how you should be tackling meditation was very helpful. And I guess when I first did it, I was like, this is so boring and I'm like not doing it very well. And then as it's been going on, I mean, there's still times where like my focus wavers, but it's been getting better. So that's kind of how I've been seeing things.
I'd say a piece of meditation that's really, I guess, contradicted my beliefs prior to this program about meditation was the idea of your attention wavering. And like I think when I think of meditation, I'm like, oh, you have to focus the entire time, and if you're not focusing, you're not doing it right. Like even that rhetoric of you're not doing it right is kind of the antithesis of it all. And learning that your thoughts are supposed to pass through you, and it's about regaining focus, and to not show judgment towards yourself has been a really beautiful practice in almost self-love.
Yeah, because like I think that no judgment thing is like I think a difficult thing for me, because I want to do like when I like that's like the one insight I've gained with like meditating with you guys in the morning, with Geshe-la, is that it's like so calm. When I do it, it's kind of like forceful. I'm like, okay, I need to be focused on like this many reps, on like this many breaths, and like I have to do it right. If not, I'm like tough on myself. But here it's like, okay, if it's tough, that's fine. Just come back to it. There's like a calmness. There's like having like a level of patience with yourself, right? When I talk to some like monks and nuns, they're like, oh, self-love, that's such a weird concept. It's like, I don't know if you guys talked about that with like with them, no. But to me, there's like such a weird concept, and like, I don't know. They think I guess it's foreign to them because they're always thinking like externally to like other people. But yeah, what is those informal conversations with the monks and nuns been like for you guys? What do you guys like? Are you guys friends now? You guys like you guys? I heard like some of you guys are like teaching them slang and like.
Oh no. Okay, so one of our lovely she she has a certain energy to her that is hard to shy away from. And if you ever have the chance to sit at dinner or lunch with her, I'm sure she'll be having some crazy conversation. But one of the things that she's made a point of doing is teaching some slang. So for example, like LOL, LOL, laugh out loud, whatever you want to say, something like that. But yesterday we had the pleasure of teaching some younger monks, and well, we thought younger. You know, they told us they're not going to know much English, like basically do Simon Says, that's what everyone was telling us, and then we show up, and for example, for me, I was teaching 23-year-old monks, and their English was great. They knew every grammar lesson. They were in the 10th grade. They knew every grammar lesson I could think of from studying for the SATs, so I was like running out of things to do, and I thought back to Becca, and I said, what would Becca do? And so I started teaching them, I guess, slang like gotcha, oh my god, all these things, because I guess that's what they wanted to know. And I also had them teach me how to play football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. And that was a really beautiful experience. I don't know if anyone else has any stories from teaching, but that was great.
This one isn't from teaching, but I think 2 days ago we went to the nunnery around here. And so we went there, we were walking around, and everybody is just so friendly. They're so welcoming and so nice. And so there's these nuns, they're showing us around the place. They already closed the monastery, like the actual place where you can visit the stupas and stuff. It was closed, but they opened it just so we could get a quick visit in. And we come back, we're sitting down in the little canteen, they give us tea. And so this nun, she comes out, and I think she's like 20 years old. That's what she looks like. She tells me she's 30, and I was shocked. She didn't look that way at all. Maybe it's like that nun life. She's like calmer and stuff. I don't know. And then she starts speaking English, and her English is better than my English.
I know who you're talking about.
The way her name is Hamu, by the way. Shout out to her. No, the way she spoke, she had like perfect American accent, and we were like, so where did you learn English? And she was like, I just picked it up. And she picked it up perfectly. She was so welcoming, friendly. She started showing off like hidden tricks that she could do. We all danced. Like in the canteen, we all started dancing around. She recorded, gave us her WhatsApp. It was just, she started teaching her lessons too, teaching us lessons that she learned from the monastery, things like that. And then she took us to get ice cream. She paid for the ice cream, got us napkins. No, she wouldn't let us pay. We were insisting, and she was like, you all have to try this one. It was like a caramel macchiato ice cream. She said it's the best one. So she bought all of us ice cream, and I don't know. While giving us ice cream, she started teaching us like Buddhist philosophy lessons along with it. And it was great. I think that was like a wholesome moment, but where I was also learning a lot too.
I can be a little bit like more reserved when meeting new people, but so when I sometimes like want to ask a question to a monk, I generally have this tendency to start with, it's a silly question, but, and then every time I start with it, without fail, I get this lecture of seeing things on different dimensions. So I just thought that was a really funny thing to add, because it's something I consistently get, and it just also shows like how much, like, you know, like how well versed and how studied a lot of the monks are. And so that's just something silly I wanted to add. And also something I've been practicing not to do.
I think something else that most of us can relate to is just the ways in which we've been able to engage with the monks and nuns around us. Not only in an academic sense, and we can talk about the debate in a second, but in a more playful way. We've been able to play badminton and table tennis, ping pong, and carom board. I learned this recently, which is a beautiful game. And the amount of joy and pure humor that comes from those experiences has been a great way to connect with everyone here. And I feel like that's sort of broken down this barrier of like, oh, we don't fully know your culture, and you know, vice versa, and we don't really know how fully engage, but that was a beautiful way to kind of get to know everyone a little bit more.
Similarly, in terms of slang being picked up and taught, I feel like in badminton you can really see that. Like, I've been saying instead of like 2-2, I'll be saying 2 each, just automatically. And similarly, I feel like lock in has been a common phrase that we hear from both parties.
The monks and nuns are using lock in.
Lock in.
Yeah, no, they're always yelling at you, lock in. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I think like I love that how you guys want to ask for like takeaways. I'm like I was looking for like, okay, what are the things that you learned, you know? But for you guys, it's more about the experience, about like you use the word wholesome, right? And I feel like that that connects to not just something intellectual, but something deep, right? But what do you think you guys have taught the monks and nuns?
Other than slang?
Other than slang.
In a sense, some of them are more along the kind of path of science than others,
right.
But when they were asking us the questions during the debate and everything like that, they were very much asking questions not about like nothing you would hear, you know, in an actual science class, you know, in America or anything like that. They were very much asking like large sort of societal level questions. They're asking like, what's the meaning of life from the perspective of science and things like that. So obviously we can't answer those because I don't even think there even like really is an answer for those questions. But what I think we kind of bring to them is they've only really been interacting with like people, doctors that are 18 years down the line of education, been learning about the subject. Right. Whereas we bring a little bit more of a diverse perspective as kind of also learning science alongside them. Right. We're maybe a little bit further ahead than they are, but so we bring this kind of more fresh perspective, and that allows, I think, a more open dialogue with a lot of the monks about science, because neither of us necessarily fully understand it or have really dedicated our lives to it in the same sense that they've dedicated their lives to Buddhism. But in terms of what we like really have been able to teach them, I would say just a little bit more about how, you know, growing up in a society based on science kind of creates people, how it sort of molds them. They get to see how we act, how we sort of interact with each other, and how we interact with them, and kind of compare it to their own experiences interacting with each other as monks and things like that. So it just brings this sort of separate cultural experience as well as the little bit of knowledge I think we can give them. But on a whole, I think it's really just the same sort of thing we're gaining from them in this like experiential sense. They kind of gain from us, just seeing how we interact and how we sort of talk to them and do things with them, like play badminton.
I think they're like as interested in you guys as you guys are in them. I feel like if not more, because during like I guess maybe like some of the debates I saw were early on, so maybe like they were uncomfortable or whatever, but like they seem to ask a lot more questions to you guys rather than like them wanting to answer, right? Like even the nuns, I saw the nuns like asking a lot of questions last night, and I think they're super interested in like how do you guys think, and that's why they're asking those like big philosophical like questions. And you know, going off of that, like there's a lot of, you know, things happening back in the US, you know, with all the protests and stuff like that. What do you think, how do we, like from the knowledge that you guys have gained here, how do we, you know, combat that? How do we spread more, you know, compassion or like the sense of interdependence to like all the people? Because I think one thing that someone mentioned, I'm not sure it was you or someone else that said that I feel like I'm spending time with my family here, you know, or like the care, or like the open-heartedness that, you know, the monks and nuns and like and some of the Tibetan people have showed me is the same way that, you know, I would be treated back home. How do we bring that that level of, I guess, care back home?
So interestingly, I think we looked into this question a bit today in class. So we were looking at, we did this activity in class. It was more or less just to look at a particular issue and then figure out like what are the potential causes for said issue, and then potentially figure out like what could be like a small solution each of us could start small and then eventually build up within like a day, a year, potentially 50 years in the future if we make it that far. And so one of the things that me and Ian and one of our other partners, shout out Alina, is that we did is that we looked at mental health issues specifically. And so we looked at a bunch of different issues related to like how social media, loneliness, education and other aspects can affect the mental health. But the consensus that we eventually came to is that to truly potentially start making a change in this sort of like mental health sphere is to start by each individual being compassionate, and then from there, so I guess in this case, taking what we've learned from here, being more compassionate, understanding, altruistic to other people, and then from there expanding that to a wider network of people. And it's small, it takes time, I imagine. So for, I guess in this case, I think it's the same response where it starts individually, where one person just has to be truly compassionate and willing to expand the knowledge that we gain from, for example, Buddhism in this case, to others, and then from there, others just being hopefully receptive and understanding. And it's just a slow process from there, spreading it out, educating people. So I know like CBCT and C-learning are fantastic methods of instructing the youth. But education, being compassionate, I feel like are two of the fundamental roots that we can first tackle to making this more compassionate, more understanding society.
Let me push back on that a little bit. So we hear about stats, anxiety, depression since like 2010 has gone up like 100% plus for people our age. And you're saying the solution has to be on an individual level. It has to be a grassroots movement, right, of compassion and love. How do you do that even like when people are just like going through it and people are just stuck in their own like echo chamber of suffering, anxiety. They're just doom scrolling on Instagram or YouTube, or I don't know, guys are sports betting, wasting all their money. Like, how do you even get them? Just like, what's the spark? What's the catalyst? And I'm just like open to ideas from everyone.
So this is obviously very tough and a very subjective question on how to like answer it. Something I've genuinely been thinking a lot on is sort of how much emphasis we place on labels and what we are, at least in the US. So like if you're depressed, then it's almost self-prophesizing. I'm not saying like, oh, it's your fault that you have this label or whatever, but I do think that like this heavy emphasis on defining what we are is like an issue, because it does almost like kind of lead into this, oh, I'm depressed, and it's really hard to get out of because we have all of this like large information. And so I think that is something that's sort of self-prophesizing that can also go with ADHD and other sort of mental issues. And I think something that I really liked on this trip and about Buddhism as a whole is like, we're human. And like that should be the main foremost, but we tend to get really caught up on all of these labels and definitions that we have of each other, which are important, but I think we place too much emphasis on them. And I think that might be one solution I could bring up.
I'd say just a slight continuation on that as well. For people that are like depressed or anxious for long periods of time, it kind of in a sense becomes part of their identity, that they are like, it becomes like sort of an integral aspect of how they view themselves. So like when I had long COVID for a while, that became kind of how I saw myself, like as someone with long COVID. And I think when you're in that sort of thought process of the disease kind of becoming an aspect of your identity, that sort of affects how you end up treating yourself and how you end up performing actions. And that I don't think has any sort of positive effects on your actions, because I kept thinking to myself that like I was sick or that I am sick, I didn't do as much sort of things as I probably would have had I not really sort of viewed myself as an ill person, if that makes sense. And I think you see a lot of that with people that are depressed for long periods of time, where it becomes just their normal. It's how they view themselves. So to break out of that is like incredibly difficult, and I think it's very hard to do without a proper support network of people around you who help kind of bring you out of that. It's a very difficult thing to do alone.
To add on that, from actually a conversation I just had with one of the gelas here, I asked him, this is one of the questions I really like to ask monks and nuns, is like, have you ever experienced anxiety, depression, sadness? How often do you feel those things? Because I think so often we hear in the US, that's a very common experience, as you just said, statistically. And oftentimes I hear, or for instance, I won't name names, but one of the gelas was saying that he joined as a monk at like age 20 or something like that, and before that he'd experienced a lot of anxiety in school. And until he started practicing various Buddhist philosophies, that's kind of when he was able to gain a little bit more control and understanding of what you guys were saying. You aren't your emotions. And that's one of our, I mean, you are your emotion, like that is how you're feeling in the moment, but emotions are ever changing and they will pass and they will come and go. And
that's where like the non-judgment comes in, right?
Exactly. And understanding, and that's the lesson we learn in meditation too, understanding that your feelings will change is really, really important. And I think that has been a very clear theme in the composure that the monks and nuns have in their ability to regulate their emotions and understand human nature and the fact that emotions will pass through you. And that you just need a minute to allow for what Geshe Lobsang always says, the pause to take it in and not react necessarily right away and realize that it will pass through you. And I think another point that Frank was also touching on earlier is the interconnected nature of us all and recognizing how we are all dependent on one another. And I think that is the first step, the very first step in order to be more compassionate and understanding that, as we always hear, like we all want to be happy, no one wants to suffer. And if we boil it down to that, also what Sage was saying, like we're all human, if we boil it down to just that, it's a lot easier to see everyone as an equal and everyone as a being who wants to be loved and to be happy. And I think that would be a great first step in tackling that difficult issue you brought up.
Yeah. So you guys gave not grasping onto like a single identity, but rather a core identity of like oneness of human being, as well as a support system, right? It's strange. Like I ride my little moped here, there, and like strangers. I don't know. Like of course they're all Tibetan, right? But like they just smile and bow their head a little bit. Just greet each other. I feel like we don't have that much. Maybe in the South you guys do, like the Southern hospitality. But like in cities you don't really see that. Like people are living in 12-story like apartment complexes, and they don't even talk to their neighbor. And like I don't know, it's a little like how can we like bring a little bit of that? Because that's where the support system starts, right? It's like friends, neighbors, and communities, families. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
No, it's definitely very, very sad. And I think earlier you were bringing up one of our classmates at the debate talked about how coming here has been such a beautiful experience for so many reasons, but one of them being the energy, the comfort, the familial sense of it all. And I think that does come from that recognition of the human nature in us all, and that simple smile or hello or tashidale, whatever it is. And yeah, I mean, I think that, I don't have much more to say other than that, other than it is a beautiful experience and it does make a difference, truly, to acknowledge one another.
Yeah, like Mei said, like human to human kind of thing, but also I think a big part of it is trust, being able to trust the other person. So just like last night, actually, me and a friend, we wanted to eat ramen. And my dad was like, there's this canteen place nearby, just go there and they'll make ramen for you. So we bring our ramen packets and we go to the canteen. And the guy's like, oh, you can just use the kitchen and make it. Like, this is a whole canteen, by the way. He just opens up the kitchen, and then he's like, we're closing the store. And he just, like, leaves. So we have the kitchen to ourselves. So we're in this kitchen that's not even ours. They're trusting us not to steal money from the register, to take cake out of the little pantry, all these kinds of things. And then there's this other guy that shows up there. He's like, do you want an egg in your ramen, too? And he goes into the pantry, pulls out an egg, and gives us egg to eat with the ramen. And so it's just, like, this kind of trust that you have. It was so welcoming.
Yeah.
Like, you really can't go to a canteen, some random restaurant, and be like, hey, I want to make ramen. Not only are they not going to cook it for you, they're definitely not letting you use their kitchen to make that food that you wanted to eat. And so it's just like having a trust in the other person to not just do the right thing and being welcoming as well.
Where do you think that trust comes from? We're always like so cautious and skeptical, even though we live in I wouldn't say like safe country. There's incidents, of course, here and there, but like I don't know, like it's relatively safe. Like I don't know, India is like you think of India as more hazardous and dangerous than like America, right? Generally, you would say. I don't know, but where do you think that trust comes from?
Well, I guess because I'm a Tibetan, I feel like because our community
What of them
is so
do you think they get that
Yeah, would we get that treatment?
Yeah.
I think you would. Okay, this is just from my perspective, right? Our community is so small. There's only, 6 million so Tibetans around the world and stuff. You have to take in other people and other cultures and, like, be welcoming because there's so few of us, right? We're so close-knit, and because of that kind of, I guess, sentiment, you have that trust not just within your community, but you want to expel that outwards, right? I mean, like, it's like teachings of His Holiness. He always teaches these kinds of things. So, of course, our community is going to be the one who implements it. And that's all I have to say, just from a Tibetan perspective. I don't know if you have anything to add on trust.
So I think, honestly, you're kind of touching a little bit to the root of the cause, and I think why we especially have such a huge issue with this in the West, or at least in the U.S. from what I've noticed. So my side of my family is Orthodox Jewish. That's not my immediate, but like the outer side. So like when I go there, there's also this specific level of trust, and I think it's because they group in this sort of like homogenous like society, and I think we tend to be a little bit standoffish with people who seem to present differences. And so I think, at least for me, where does these trust and these communities come from? It has to come from acceptance of others, and especially in the US where like there's so many different cultures, you do see these pockets of communities, but these pockets of communities, I come from New York, right? We have very different, like Chinatown, we have Little Italy, we have like a lot of spots in Brooklyn, we have Flushing, like you have these very concentrated spots of homogenous cultures and identities, but you don't really see that blend unless it's sort of like in schools or things like that. And I think that's probably where I would recommend we start it from, just a sort of building of schools. And then also in the debate last night, we talked about the building of third spaces, and I think building of third spaces could also help bring communities together like that.
Probably gonna wrap up soon, but on the flip side, I promise Geshe won't see this, but any challenges or difficulties from the experience, from the program, from the journey?
How can you promise this?
I'll keep it hidden. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, like the only thing that I would have any sort of complaint about is just I usually eat a lot of protein.
Wait, you should tell them about your shakes.
Oh no, one morning.
I literally.
I saw you take apart all the egg whites, the boiled egg whites.
One morning, it's every morning.
It's every
morning, yeah.
He put away the yolks. I'm like, them yolks are, man.
No, the yolks and hard-boiled eggs, I do not mess with. I don't like them. I like yolks normally. I usually have like 10 eggs every morning when I'm there.
10 eggs?
Yeah. I told you, no, I eat a lot.
How's your cholesterol, man?
Oh, it's just fine, trust me. I do blood tests because of it. But no, like that's kind of the only real complaint I have is just food-wise, it's a lot of carbs and not a ton of other things. So I notice, because I maintain training while here using like the gym they have, they're just pull-ups and dips mostly. Okay. But I noticed my bones were starting to hurt. And I wasn't like recovering as well.
Do you think that's because of the lack of protein?
Lack of protein, calcium, that sort of thing. That was like my only complaint. I just stopped training hard after I noticed that. But
you just gave
genuinely, that's like the only thing I complain about. Everything else has been phenomenal. I loved it.
Yeah. What about you guys? Have you lost weight since you've been here?
Oh yeah, there's a scale in the library. I've lost like 3 kilos, I think.
That's like what, 6, 7 pounds?
6 to 7, yeah.
Any difficulties, challenges? Funny stories.
Funny stories.
Yeah.
Well, the funny story is Ian.
My whole life, yeah.
It's him eating 8 eggs every single morning, and then in one of those bags that we got from the soap after the prayer, it had cartons of milk in it, and he hadn't gotten milk in a long time.
I love milk.
So there was this carton of milk, and I give it to him, and he's like ecstatic, and he starts chasing down every other person so he can get more milk. He finished that one carton in one sitting, basically.
Yeah.
It was only like 500 milliliters, so I chugged it.
That's like
very swiftly.
I don't know how much that is.
Like 16 ounces, a little bit more than,
That's like 2 cups, 3 cups.
Yeah, usually with what the serving size they give you is a cup,
Wow.
But no, I started, I brought protein powder.
You should talk about the protein powder.
The description.
So I'm a freak. I'm a bit of a fan of organs. I like organs.
What was that guy's name? Liver King?
Not Liver King. Not Liver King. Liver King's giga scammer. Don't like him. Yeah, no, he's a heavy scammer. Don't trust him at all.
Why? Tell us a little.
Yeah, he's like essentially a branded name to sell his supplements and everything, but it
doesn't work. Doesn't have like all the organ
doesn't
stuff
work.
in it?
No, probably does honestly, but he tried to just brand as a fake natty for a while, and then he pushes a lot of like programs, pushes a lot of dietary supplements, things like that, for money, of course.
Yeah.
But then it's just not. He's on steroids. He's doing all these other things.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing now. He's like acting insane now.
Yeah.
But
now.
I'm just a fan of. I'm a fan of organs. I like them for vitamins a lot because I don't eat a ton of vegetables.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna get those vitamins, I do it from organs mostly.
Yeah.
He also sleeps on the floor.
Okay, tell me about that. I've been interested in that.
Oh, you knew about this?
Yeah, I know.
You're
Did you hear it
famous.
from Leilani or something?
No.
No, genuinely.
Yeah.
I started like a year ago because I noticed my neck was starting to hurt when I was sleeping in the bed, and it was only like when I'd wake up in the bed. So I got rid of my pillow first, and that like helped a little bit, but I was still kind of sore and super stiff waking up. So then I just went to the floor because it's a hard surface, and I was like, yeah.
What's the science behind this?
What's the science? I don't even know if there is science. It's just comfortable. All anecdotal. It's just comfortable. I feel better.
Interesting.
I got like a futon. It's like maybe about this thick. I usually use at Emory.
And no pillow?
No. It's great. I love
Are you
it.
sure it's because you're not broke and you can't afford it?
It'd be a valid argument if they didn't give me a bed right next to it. So, but
Yeah.
Okay, I have something I've thought of. That's something I'm sad about. Or something I don't know if I would change it, but I've made such beautiful connections with everyone. Oh, I forgot to preface. I don't go to Emory. I go to a different school. So it's very hard to get to know everyone and develop love for everyone here. All the monastics that we've met, our previous teachers, all these people, these beautiful people, who in a few days I will likely not see very much. And I think, you guys didn't know each other before. I know, Norson, you're coming in, but no one knew anyone. So this understanding of building beautiful relationships that will be very hard to maintain, and kind of just reconciling with this idea that I will view those relationships fondly and as memories that hopefully I will carry with me for the rest of my life, even though I may not get to see everyone face to face as much as I'd like.
One thing I feel about when I get the chance to meet His Holiness, you guys met His Holiness, right? He's always so happy to see you. He's always smiling, giving you, his presence for each person. He just looks you in your eyes. But he's never sad to see you leave, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's true love. Like, we're always missing people, but if you can be fully yourself without them, but also love them when they're there, and I feel like I've experienced that with a lot of monks. They take care of you, they love you, they'll always give you the time of the day, but once you're gone, they're like, they're just gone with their lives. We feel it's sad, but I think that's the way they show their most unconditional love. It's like, we can't offer them anything, and they don't have any expectation of us, from us. I think that's love. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if you guys felt that. Maybe you guys will. You're gonna be like, bye, and just like,
No.
Yeah. But before we wrap up, you guys want to share anything?
So yeah, I feel like one aspect that I'm really gonna struggle with is, I agree with Mimi, it's just leaving the program. It's gonna be this program's an incredible experience, to be honest. Even leaving back from Dharamsala, it was a bit hard because we made some incredible friends with the monks, and the teacher there, Geshe Dharamsala, you get another mention. He's an incredible monk, and he was supremely kind and caring and thoughtful towards us, and we all collectively miss him alongside all the other Geshe-las who were there, who helped guide us throughout the whole process. And so being here and eventually having to live here in about 3 days, I know they say, don't have attachments, at least in that sense, but it's still I'm not gonna see everybody here as frequently as I do once I head back to Emory. And I guess for Mei and then a few others, I'm probably not gonna see them for a while. So it's gonna be hard, but I feel like the only thing that's come for me is the fact that we enjoyed what we had here. It's best to appreciate it, and also just to hope that we can see each other sometime again in the future.
Yeah. Oh, I have one last question for you. Like, before coming on this program, did you think like, oh, I already know everything, like I'm like a Tibetan, like blah blah blah. Like, why did you take the risk to come here? And like, how's that experience been as a Tibetan?
Okay, I actually touched on this last night at the debate when one of the nuns was asking like just our experience and stuff like that. And I was talking about how growing up I've always been culturally Buddhist, and I've always claimed that, oh, I am a Buddhist, I practice this, I have like this full faith in it. But if you ask me to tell you about Buddhist teachings, things like that, I really can't tell you a lot. And so coming here, of course, I know about, Tibetan culture and just basic customs, but really this program focusing on Buddhism and stuff, I don't know a lot about that. So I did not come into this program with this mindset of, oh, I know everything. In fact, I came into the mindset of everybody's gonna know way more than I do, even though I claim to be a Buddhist and most of them probably don't. And so, I don't know, I think I've had a really good time. I've wanted to come on this program a lot because I knew I'd get to learn more about Buddhism, and I felt like I could claim more to be a Buddhist if I learned about it.
Yeah. You talked about how you felt a little bit guilty, right? Saying you're a Buddhist, but like didn't, really understand the philosophy. Are you more confident now?
I'm a little more confident.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been better at implementing its practices. I feel like as a person, I've gotten calmer, more collected. I said that last night. But I don't feel as guilty anymore.
Yeah.
I know a little more, and I want to keep on studying it.
Yeah.
A lot of the monks here, whenever they come up to me, they're like, it's so great that you're on this program, but really remember to keep on studying even after this program ends.
Yeah.
So I hope to keep on doing that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good way to end it. Appreciate you guys for keeping an open mind, taking a chance on our culture, our religion, and hopefully you guys can go back and spread the values in any way that you guys can in your own way. Thank you for sacrificing your protein. And I appreciate you guys coming on the podcast and having this conversation. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.